Hey, welcome back everybody, it's Daniel. In this video what we're going to create is a horizontal recycler view. So we already saw how there are a bunch of product photos here, but this is new right here. Look at that. We can kind of go horizontally through a list of different categories. So this is a recycler view. It has edged corners, there's some space in between them, and instead of scrolling up and down, you scroll left and right. So I'm going to go ahead and kill that, and we'll get rid of that. And so we're going to do that. So here's our fresh product, or fresh Android Studio project. So one of the things that I upgraded from the last time was a couple of things in Android Studio, because I haven't even worked on this series in a couple of months, but I needed to upgrade some stuff in the app module, and also from the Gradle file. I think I upgraded some dependencies. Some stuff might be out of date. I'll probably fix this in a future video, but if you open up this project, and I'll try to put it in GitHub, but if you open up this project and it gives you errors, let Android Studio guide you through the upgrade process so that way you'll get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we want to open up, I'm just going to close everything. I don't have it anymore. But let's go ahead and start on the adapter for that. Let's start on the layout. So we have, I think it's main fragment. I think this is what it is. We can command click or control click on fragment main. Here we go. That's our recycler view. Let's go ahead and create a new recycler view up top. So let's see. Let's do this. We'll do recycler view. We'll do 0dp, wrap, and we can get rid of all of that. We don't need it anymore. We can make it self-closing. Let's give this an ID of, we'll do ID equals, we'll call this categories recycler view, and it's giving us some error. So if I put my mouse over there, oh, by the way, instead of in design mode, go into text mode. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do left to left parent, right to right of parent, and we'll do top to top of parent. That's a little shortcut. You can just type the first few characters of it and it'll open up. So this is kind of, let's see how this works. Let's do background, we'll do number F, make it red, so we can kind of see, hey, there's our recycler view. But I think this recycler view is on top of it. So if I were to save it, and if I were to go ahead and run it, and if I were to go back to the emulator, let's see what the emulator shows us here. I'll keep it up in the top right corner. Here it is, it opens up, and you see what, oh, I didn't do a height, did I? What did I do? What's going on? Is that the main? Is that the main? No, I think it's the main. What happened? Well, anyways, so let's do this. We'll give it 200 dp. So this should show up. Oh, unless I give the other one a white background. I might have given the other one a white. No, I'm not sure if I did or not. There we go. Okay. So we see we have the red up at top. Let's just for clarity, let's change that to different color. So if I were to save that, and then I'm just running it using the icon right there, but you'll notice that the top part is yellow. But we also see that the jeans, see how the jeans is on top of it? So let's go down to our second recycler view. And on this recycler view, what we're going to do is we're going to do, instead of top to top of, we'll do top to bottom of. Then we gave it an ID of categories recycler view. So that categories recycler view references the ID right there. So this is going to be our top, and this is going to be our bottom. So that's how it works. So if I were to save this, and if I were to run it again and go back to the emulator, you should see that, yeah, now it goes below it. So there we have the category up top, but that's way too big. We only need it to be like 100. So if I save that and run it again, you'll see it takes up a little bit less room. So with this, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we need to do is probably, so we have the recycler view here. We just created this. Let's go back inside of our Java. Let's go to main fragment. I think this is where we left off. So I'm going to come down to the bottom right here, and just to make sure, I want to make sure that's it. Yeah, that's the layout. Okay, cool. So let's do this. And we gave it an ID. The ID was categories recycler view. So we have, let's do categories recycler view dot apply the second option there. And let's do this. Let's do layout manager equals linear layout manager. We're going to open that up. Then if you press Command P, or say you just click away and you put your mouse inside of there and do Command P, it'll show you what it takes. So it takes a context. I'm going to type in, I think, activity. Actually, we're in a fragment, so activity. Let's see. Activity, yeah. And then it takes a couple more things. So we can do recycler view dot horizontal because you want it to go left to right. And then we'll do false for if it's going to be, I think false is for if it's going to be, forget exactly what it's for. Reverse, I think. Okay, so we have that taken care of. Now let's do this. Let's do adapter equals, and we haven't created this adapter yet. We'll call it categories adapter, and then we want to pass it categories. So categories. Okay, so we have a couple of things we need to do. We need to create categories adapter, but we also need to create categories. So how can we create categories? The easiest way is probably to just create it up here. We'll do val categories. Let's do categories equals, and we'll do list of. We don't need a type. So let's do this. Let's do jeans, socks, suits, skirts. You get the idea. You can put in, whatever you want here. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we have that. So we're passing our categories right here onto our adapter, but we haven't actually created the adapter yet. So let's go ahead and create categories adapter. So click on it, then do Option Enter. Then let's do this second here, create class categories adapter. And then we can select some different options there. Let's do the first one. Let's do extract to separate file. And that's fine for now. We'll go ahead and click that, and it creates it over there for us. Okay, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and hit enter. It's kind of messed up there. Let's see what this is complaining about. Let's do this. Let's go there and let's type in we'll do, RecyclerView.Adapter, and then we'll do categories, categories adapter.ViewHolder. Okay, so we have a number of errors here. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, we're going to create a new class called categories adapter. We're going to pass it some data, and that data is coming from right there. So we get the categories right there. But this is how we extend stuff in Kotlin. So we're going to kind of base it on a recycler view. So I'm going to click on the red view holder and do Option Enter. I'm going to hit Enter, and then I'm going to do it, instead of doing it in a separate file, I'm going to do it right there. So there we go. It creates this class for us. Let's see. So this one needs to, we're just going to take in a view, and it's going to extend RecyclerView.ViewHolder. And we need to pass in the view. So the view will come from there to the parent. Basically, it's kind of how that works. So we have another error right here. So we're giving us an error. It says no abstract is not abstract. We have to actually do this. So click on the error, do Option Enter, and then we're going to just shift click on all of those to select them all, and then go ahead and click OK. So I'm going to give us some space here. So let's start with the easiest one. The get item count is probably the easiest, so let's do that. I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm going to do categories, and we need to make val there. But if we do categories.size, that works. We're going to say, hey, so we set up our categories there, and if we look, we're passing it right there. It gets put right here, and then we're saying, hey, how many items is this recycler view going to have? It's going to have, 10 or whatever. It gets the size from that right there. So here we are. Let's do, what else should we do? Let's do here. Let's do this. So we'll do new view. We'll do val view equals layout inflator dot from. We'll do parent dot context. Then we'll do inflate. And then we actually haven't created a new layout yet. So we'll probably do that in the next step. Let's do r.layout. We'll call this category row parent, and then false. Okay, so this onCreate view is kind of like similar to setting up your layout there. Does it a little bit differently, but we're going to create that next. So let's go ahead and actually let's do one more thing here. Let's do return. We'll do ViewHolder, then pass in the view there. That should work. So cool. We have just one error, then this should work. So we have categories row. So I'm going to click on it and do Option Enter, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. The first option there is fine. Then go ahead and click OK. And here we are. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's do, just to show you how there's multiple ways to use the layout editor, I'm going to go to design on the bottom, and And I'm just gonna drag in a random text view. I'll just drag it up, I'll drag it there. I'll go ahead and constrain it, click and drag there, click and drag there. It's kind of similar to doing it in text, and if you see, we just created that element right there. I could have typed all that code out, but I instead decided to just drag it in, and then it creates all that code for us. Okay, cool. So we need to, I think it's, let me look at the text again. Yeah, that looks okay, text view. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'm gonna go back to here, and it's giving me an error. So I'm gonna do F2. F2 will go directly to that error. And it's just a typo right here. There's a typo there. So get rid of that. And I think this might actually work. So just, I like to run it very often. So as soon as we can make that private, click on it, options, enter, that makes it private. I like to run things very often. So let's go ahead and run it. So I'm gonna come up to here, run it, and I'm gonna go back to the emulator, and let's see what we have so far. This could crash, who knows? Did it crash? I think it might have crashed. Let's run it again. Let me see what the logcat is saying. So I'm gonna go ahead and select error here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, save it. Let me just look at RecyclerView.Adapter. I'm gonna go ahead and run it one more time, and let's see what this error is all about. So it's closing immediately. Let's see. On a null object. So it looks like, so to read this error, so to debug apps, it's often helpful to look at the log statements. So go to logcat and then set this to error, and then look for where it says the blue text. So see where it has blue text there? It's kind of like a hyperlink, or it's a link you can click on. It's different from the ones that are just gray, but look for the one that's blue. And you can see in this error right here, there's only one that's blue. So go ahead and just click on there, and it'll go, whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's go ahead and close that. So just click on main fragment. And what it's saying is it's saying, hey, we have set layout manager, so we see layout manager right there, and it's saying on a null object reference. So it means whatever comes before the set layout manager, there's something wrong with it. So instead of doing layout manager, it's saying, hey, categories is a null. So what can we do? So because this is a fragment, we actually have a root that we set up there in a previous video. So we need to do this. Let's do root dot, then we can do categories recycler view. So I'm gonna save that, gonna go ahead and run it, and I think this will work. I'm pretty sure this will work. Now it's not gonna be perfect, but it'll be something. So see, we have our yellow text, but this looks really weird. At least we have something we can kind of scroll through, but see how there's like a bunch of space between them? What we need to do is go to our layouts, and the layout that we created in a previous step, just like 2 or 3 minutes ago, was to create category row, I think. So for this, the width, we're setting the width of this. This needs to be wrap content. So if we were to save that and run it again, let's go back to the emulator, and I think this should show us that they're all next to each other now. And we can't scroll because there's not enough for them to scroll. So let's do something else. I don't really like that yellow, so let's do this. Let's go to our fragment main. I'm gonna go ahead and just delete that, and let's go ahead and make this wrap content. So we'll go ahead and save that, run it. Let's go back to the emulator, and let's see what this looks like. Again, I'm a fan of running things all the time. So we have our list there. Let's add, so it's not able to scroll now because there aren't enough items. So let's add some more items. Let's do, what can we do? We'll do jeans, oh no, we already did jeans. Jeans, socks. Let's do, what else do they sell at the store? Pants, jackets. Okay, so we have more stuff now. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it. Go back to the emulator, and we should be able to scroll now. So now there's enough we can scroll through it. Okay, so we see that we have down here like jeans and socks and suits and stuff, but here it just says text view. So what's going on? So you'll see we have this list here, and if we command click on it, it'll take us down there. We command click on that, it takes it in right there, but we're not actually using it. The only thing we're using it for is just this get item count. So what can we do? Let's do this. So if we go back to category row, we have an ID there. It's called text view, and we could name that something else. Let's name this category name. That's probably pretty descriptive. I'm gonna come down here, give it some space, clean up the imports maybe. Okay, so we have it. So the text view that's coming. The text view that's coming from right there. So let's go ahead and programmatically set up the recycler view's category name here. So we have category name. Let's go back to category adapter and let's do this. We'll do we'll do equals view dot category name, and that will pull it in. So now we have access to category name. So we come up here to onBind ViewHolder and we'll do holder, which comes from right there. Then let's do dot category name, which comes from right there. Then we're going to put a dot and then text equals, then we have access to this categories up there. So let's do this, categories. So categories, but if you notice this categories here, that contains all of them. So what if we want just one of them? Well, thankfully inside of onBind ViewHolder we have position. So this will start at 0 and go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just keeps getting higher and higher. So we're going to do position. So this right here is going to happen. So say we have 10 text views. It'll do that 10 times, one for each row. So we have access to the position. So it'll start at 0 and go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to save it and run it. And let's go back to the emulator. And this should show us the actual text. So let's see if what this shows. There we go. So now we actually have we have jeans, socks, dresses, skirts, all that kind of stuff. So that's looking kind of cool. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Maybe it's easier to see if it's bigger, let's guess. That's nice and big. Okay, cool. So we have this right here. We can kind of scroll through there. Okay. So what we had in the previous video, or what I showed in the demo, was actually when it had a little circle around each one. So what we can do is we can go to category row and let's do this. We'll do background and we'll make it red. But let's also do this. Let's do margin right, or we'll do margin start. We'll do 8dp. So I'm going to save it, run it, and let's see what this looks like. This should make it red. So we have kind of squares there, but it doesn't actually look right. It doesn't even look good at all. So what's going on? Let's see. I think that might be... No, anyway, so let's go back to here. So we have margin start. Let's do, I think that should be at the beginning. Let's also do margin end. We'll do 8dp. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and lower that because we don't need it anymore. But here, let's do a little bit of constraint layout. Let's see what we can do. So we have content. Let's see, what does it have? Is a margin top, margin start. Let's get rid of both of those because we don't want those. Let's do this. Let's do padding. Start, let's do 8dp. Let's do padding end. We'll do 8dp. So that gives us a little bit of room there. I'm going to go ahead and run it, and this should look a little bit better, but still not going to be there. So yeah, we can still scroll through those, but it doesn't look very good. So let's do something else. Let's see. We have margin start, margin end. We have layout. Let's do width. Can we do? Yeah, we can do. So padding start, padding end. Let's see. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and make the little rounded icon. So right now it's just square. Let's make the icon rounded. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go to the drawables. Let's go to new, and then there should be a drawable resource folder. And I'll call this rounded corners. So now we have this new rounded corners there. Rounded corners. Double click it to open it up. And let's change this from selector to shape. And so the opening and closing is both shape. And now let's do this. Let's do solid. And this is the color we want it to be. So we'll do color and we'll call this, we'll make it black. And you can see if on the preview, if you have the preview open on the right, you can actually see a preview of it. That needs to be closed. Now, this is the important thing. The next one is going to be corners. So here we have a radius. Let's do radius, let's do 8dp. That's good, I think. And then we need to close that. So this should be our shape folder. Did I mess something up? Okay, so this is our shape folder. We called it rounded corners. So now if we go back to category row, instead of making the background red, let's do this. Let's do rounded corners. And that gives it rounded corners. So we can command click on there, and this is the layout we just created there. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it, and I'm gonna go back to the emulator, and let's see what this looks like now. So there we go. We got kind of, the basics are kind of there, but it's still not really how we want it. Let's go back to rounded corners, and instead of making this black, let's make it kind of a light gray. I kind of like something like that. So let's go ahead and run it, and let's see what this looks like in the emulator. And it looks okay. I kind of like that actually. Let's make it a little bit, let's make it gray, go there. Let's see how that looks. I kind of like that. Now we need to fix some stuff. It's like right next to the top of the red. Let's give it a little bit of spacing. So category row, let's go up to here. Let's do margin top. We'll do 8 dp. That looks good to me. Save it. And I think this is it. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. There it is. Let's do this. Let's give it a little bit of padding. Let's do padding top. We'll do 4 dp. Padding bottom, we'll do 4 dp. And I think this is going to be the last coding session for this video. And I kind of like that. So there it is. Cool. And you could always mess with the layout. Like say you want to make the corners, you want to say, let's do this. Instead of 8, let's do 24. We can experiment and kind of see what happens. So if you go back to the emulator, don't even know what this will look like, but now it has more of a rounded corner there. So this is, hopefully you learned something, and this can be kind of cool if you're like have categories for your e-commerce app. You can like select jeans and socks and suits. So we opened up main fragment. We first created a bunch of categories using list of, and then we just passed in what we wanted the categories to be. Then we got access to root, and then we created categories for RecyclerView, which is in main fragment main. So we created that RecyclerView. That's the ID right there. That's the same as right there. And then we do apply on there, and then we can set up the layout manager. That makes it horizontal. And then this kind of sets up the adapter. So we can go into the adapter, and we have a number of methods that are created here, kind of explained in the videos. But I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully, hopefully you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.